What's up, everybody? Crash here. Welcome back to Crash Against the Spread, where we talk about sports from a betting perspective. It's Friday, March 21st. We ran the board yesterday. The only thing we had to cancel was that Lakers pick. It's right after the video. There was no Luka Doncic. There was no Austin Reeves. There was no Dorian Finney-Smith. So it was obvious what was going to happen. So I just left it off. The Bucks have been so inconsistent. Just in case they did beat the Bucks, I didn't want to be involved. So went with the other four, hit all four. So moving on to today, when things like that happen, we're mindful the next day because the gambling universe always resets itself. So never put all our winnings on the next day, and we're just careful the next day. So that's what we're going to do. 10 games. We're going to be diligent in our picks. First game up, we got the Magic and the Wizards. Wizards are home underdogs, 8 points. Totals at 216. Kind of like the over, actually. Orlando has been playing to overs recently, and Washington's been keeping up with most of their opponents. So in Washington's last game, Jordan Poole, for some reason, only had 2 points in 19 minutes. I expect a better showing from him. They are missing Kispert and Middleton. I think Middleton's actually questionable, so he still may play, but I think Jordan Poole's going to have a better game. I think that Washington could cover this 8 points, but I like an over as well. So we'll see which one I like better by the end of the video. Pelicans and Timberwolves, these two teams just played 2 days ago, and Timberwolves were 14-point favorites then. Pelicans beat them outright, and I still think they can cover. I don't think that the Timberwolves are a team that we expect to lock in and blow out a team the very next time they see them, but it's possible. But this is still now it's at 15 on some books. On FanDuel, I'm seeing a 15 right now. So, one Pelicans plus 15. Just is what it is. Zion, McCollum, who else is it? Kelly Olynyk is playing still. Alvarado, good defensively. Yeah, they can compete with this team still, and 15 points is too many for me. Heat and the Rockets. Houston is favored on the road, 5.5 points. I'm rocking with Houston. The Heat just haven't been able to pull through when I've needed them to. They did the other day against the Pistons, but I needed the Pistons to pull it out then, not the Heat. So anytime I back the Heat, they don't seem to want to work it out. And Houston is still trying to keep up with all those guys in the West. I think they might have the 2 seed right now. Let's double check those real quick while we're here. Yeah, Houston's the 2 seed in the West, 45-25 over the Nuggets, 44-26. So they're still keeping up with them, and I think that being that close to falling to the 3, they're going to compete in every game for the rest of the season. They're pretty much fully healthy. Amin Thompson is on the report, but he's probable. I'm on Houston to continue their 8-game win streak, make it 9. So, on the other hand, Miami is on a 9-game losing streak already. They're about to make it 10. Next game up, we have the Sixers and the Spurs. I'm going to continue to fade the Sixers here. They probably can compete with this Spurs team who's missing their 2 best players, but I just don't like the way the Sixers always close out games, and they did recently beat a Dallas team, and they recently beat a Jazz team. That's pretty much about it. So can they cover this number? Probably, but I'm going to bet on the Spurs with their fast-paced young team to come up with a win. They just came off a win versus the Knicks with no Brunson. So I'm going to be on the Spurs here, minus the 5.5. Next game up, we got Charlotte and Oklahoma City. I'm kind of leaning Charlotte just for general purpose. 19.5 points is a lot. Their best player is playing. They are on a back-to-back, but they won. So there's some momentum there. It's not always this best spot to bet the best team versus the worst team, to lean on the worst team here, but the number is just huge. And Oklahoma City doesn't care if they win by 15, don't care if they win by 18, don't care if they win by 4. As long as they win and keep their streak on. So in the last 10 games, they're 9-1, only losing to Denver on that back-to-back. They have only not covered twice. None of these numbers were this big. One of those was a 14, though, that they didn't cover against Houston. I don't know. If I were to bet this game, which I don't know if I am, I might be on the Hornets plus the 19. I just think that number is outrageous. On the other hand, Detroit and Dallas, I like Detroit to go ahead and blow out Dallas. They're on a roll. They're still a kind of middle of the road team. Once I look at the standings, they are sixth in the East. The East is not as jumbled up as the West is. The 39 and 31, which just still above 500 is 5.557% win percentage. So it's not 60% yet. But they're light years ahead of where they were last year. So today they are playing a Dallas team who we know what's going on with them. Dallas is just coming off a loss to the Pacers where they covered the 10.5 points. They lost by 4. They're coming off a loss to Philly where they lost by 5. Blown out by the Rockets. Lost by 10 to the Spurs. Beat the Spurs. And that's their only win in the last 10 games. Detroit, on the other hand, coming off 2 wins, 2 losses before that to the Thunder and the Wizards. I don't know, probably going to stay out this game. The number almost feels like it could be too big, but Dallas at home, and I don't have to bet it, so I won't. Boston and Utah. I'm actually on Utah to cover this number. They just played at the beginning of March, and Utah covered a minus, what was it? A 16. They covered a plus 16. They lost by 6 points. And I think the same thing could happen again now that they're back at home. They are missing Lauri Markkanen, but they have Kessler, and Boston's missing Jaylen Brown. So I think that Utah might be able to pull this one out as far as the spread goes. So that's the side I want to be. Taking the underdogs with some of these big spreads here. Cleveland and Phoenix. I want to be on Phoenix here. Phoenix is still competing to stay in the play-in tournament. And the person above them or below them is the Mavericks. So fairly safe. Right there at 33 and 37, tied with the Mavericks. We only expect the Mavericks to lose a couple more, and if Phoenix can win a couple more, then they're in a decent spot to stay where they are. And then they would have to face the Kings in the play-in tournament. If they jump the Kings, they'd have to get all the way to the 8 seed to the Timberwolves in order to be in the 7-8 game and not the 9-10 game. So they're pretty much, in my opinion, going to be locked into that 9-10 game. I don't see the Spurs, Blazers, or Mavericks catching the Suns. But they need to stay there. So they need to keep competing in these games. Cleveland, coming off 3 losses in a row, I expect them to win this one. But they could win it at the end by 3. So Phoenix to cover this plus 8.5 is what I'm looking at for this game. Denver and Portland. This spread is so short because we still have no Jokic. Gordon's on the report. Murray's on the report. I expect both of them to play. So I kind of want to lean on Denver in this game. Denver is coming off a back and forth type of schedule. They lost to the Lakers. They lost to the Lakers. They beat the Warriors. They lost to the Wizards. They beat the Lakers. They lost to the Timberwolves. They beat the Thunder. Lost in Thunder. Beat the Suns. Beat the Kings. Lost to the Celtics. Those are the last 10 games, and they're exactly 5-5. So 2-8 against the spread, though. I do expect them to cover this short number here. While it's short, we're actually getting them as underdogs. So not many times we're going to see that. Like I said, I expect Jamal Murray to play, and if that happens, I expect the number to change slightly. So I'm going to be on Denver plus the 1.5 here. Might as well do the money line if you expect them to win the game. So is that plus 105 on BetMGM, plus 100 on FanDuel. Shop around. Next game up, we have the Grizzlies and the Clippers in the night. Clippers are home favorite, 7 points. Totals are 231. I like the Clippers. I like the Clippers at home here. On the report, we have Clark out, Stevens out, John Morant out, and Pullen out. On the report for the Clippers, we only have Miller out. Only Jordan Miller. So they're pretty healthy in my opinion. The last 10 games, 7-3, 6-4 against the spread. Last 2 have been at home. A little homestand here. Got one more versus Oklahoma City before they go on the road versus the Knicks and the Nets. So this is a game they should win, and they are trying to keep that 7 spot. Which, if the Timberwolves win tonight and the Clippers lose, they'll be tied. So they're in jeopardy of losing that 7 spot to the Clippers or to the Timberwolves, and they need to keep pace with the Warriors, who are in the 6th spot. So it's an important game. It's an important game for the Clippers. I expect them to come out. They have all their starters in. They've been the better team recently. And they're on a 4-game win streak. So to end out the night, let's bet on the Clippers to keep that going. And let's see what we're going to bet here. So, like the Clippers, see this 6.5. I'll check that out. I like the Suns. I like the Nuggets. I like the Jazz. Stand out the Detroit game. Lean Hornets. Lean Pelicans. Lean Spurs. Over in the Washington and Orlando game, and Rockets over the Heat. So those are 8 picks. Not betting all 8. I'm gonna narrow it down. If I had to pick a favorite, I'd say the Rockets over the Heat. I'd say the Nuggets over Portland. And the third is a toss-up between Phoenix and the Clippers. So Western Conference is more competitive right now than the East, and I expect a lot of more variation and competing in that conference. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm banking on Denver to try to keep pace with the Lakers. I'm banking on the Clippers to try to keep pace with the Warriors. Betting on Boston to coast that have already locked up with the 2. And betting on Minnesota, the house of disappointment. Jay Briggs calls them to not show up against Portland to cover 15 points. So, or Portland Pelicans. So that's what I'm betting on today. Probably going to stay off that total. Probably going to stay off the San Antonio game. Yeah, so go ahead and lock those in. Let's get this money. We'll be back tomorrow to... No, we won't be back tomorrow. We'll probably be back Monday to talk some more NBA. So I'll see you then.